Our nurses, our future. That was the theme of a scientific gathering that happened for Nigerian nurses sometimes last week. And on Wednesday last week, our CEO and registrar, Farouk Abubakar, made it known that there will be a clampdown on Nigerian nurses' migration to the diaspora. Um, Honestly, I'm thinking that actually shouldn't be. Yeah, our nurses, our future. That was the theme of a scientific conference that happened in Abuja. That's the Federal Capital Territory of Nigeria. This very week that we just completed. And that was on Wednesday. Then our registrar, the Chief Executive Officer of Nursing and Midwifery Council, Abubakar Farouk, mentioned during that program that there will be a clampdown, there will be a reduction, there will be a curtailing, there will be a checkmating of the Japa syndrome among Nigerian nurses. Then I've started thinking whether this actually is the best plan or strategy at this particular point in time. Like, let's look at so many things that NMC and should have put in place for a Nigerian nurse, for Nigerian nurses, that will make the home front interesting, appealing to everyone, and nobody will actually be thinking of going outside the nation to go and practice. Let's look at the trainings. How much of subsidization do we have for the trainings that Nigerian nurses receive, both at the diploma and university, masters and PhD levels? Most of the schoolings we do in Nigeria is out of pocket. So if we are paying for the trainings we receive, we are paying the teachers, we are paying the schools, we are paying the government heavily, then I think there shouldn't be any reason to actually think of stopping Nigerian nurses from going anywhere that they want to go out there to practice. First thing, honestly, make the training easy. Make the financial burden less on the people. So if you lessen the financial burden on the people, we have many people going in there to study nursing, and then probably many people will be staying back. That's one thing. Now, we've been on the shout out for um this auxiliary thing to be curtailed, to be curbed for a very, very long time, right from the word go, before I even joined nursing profession in Nigeria. And I'm sure I'm like close to 2 decades in nursing. So, and we keep shouting from then till now, these quackery and quack practitioners in nursing profession are outside there, and they're actually increasing in number in droves. And so we are competing with 1001 quacks outside there. Then we are saying people who know how should not go outside there to practice. Then how about the availability of gadgets to practice with? I could remember there were times that there were would just be maybe some few oxygen cylinders to work with in some healthcare industries, in some healthcare institutions, and you all be struggling, scampering here and there, running up and down to roll the oxygen cylinder from one ward to the other, one unit to the other, to save the life of people. Whereas in all these countries that people are going to, you just pull something just at the back of your patient and you are already administering oxygen. But then, where are the equipment, the gadgets that nurses should work with? If we have those things, you can actually reduce the number of people you employ in a particular place. Maybe where you should have five, you may have three, and they will still be meeting up with things. But then, as it is in Nigeria now, where you should have five, you are having one, and yet the one you are having, there are no gadgets to practice with. And yet, it's not like there are no nurses on the road. There are nurses everywhere around that this very government we have are not employing. Because we keep churning out numerous number of nurses out there, graduating many people from different schools of nursing every year. But then the government is not giving them due employment. They are not being employed to practice. And so those institutions are really short-staffed. And the people outside there are not even getting job. They are getting jobs like 30,000 per month, 40,000 per month. That's actually after they've trained in different schools for like 500,000 per annum. And they are coming out to earn 30,000 per month, which means they are not even earning up to 400,000 in a year. So the outside there not being employed, the government hospital is suffering shortage, not because there are not enough number of nurses in Nigeria, but because the government is not recruiting. So if the government is recruiting, then that is a different ballgame. Now that you are not recruiting and people are there outside there looking for jobs and they are like almost feeding from hand to mouth, and they the way we do it in Nigeria, everybody will just save up for you, especially in a family that they love themselves. And maybe family they've saved up to train them, and they say, okay, we can still save up to help you to pay for your English test, then look at migrating. And if a family is doing that, the Nmcn should not even actually be thinking of clamp down at this point in time. Of course, I actually appreciate that he's saying that they need to work in such a way to make the nurses comfortable, but we've been hearing this for the umpteens for 1,001 times per day, but yet nothing has been done. All has been majorly lip services from the government officers. So, can we just tell the Nmcn and all those who are trying to say that nurses should not migrate or thinking of clamping down on Japa among nurses to let the poor breathe? Can you please let the poor breathe? Please, let people just continue whatsoever they are doing. And when you are ready to make people comfortable, so many nurses will actually be happy to come back home to practice and even to share their diasporan experiences and knowledge they've gained over the year back home with people back at home. So you need to fix the unemployment among nurses while there are many people on the road without job, but yet unemployment has eaten deep into our marrows. You need to look at that, sir, and the other people you're making the plan. Our registrar is a very, very respectable person, someone most of us, I believe, if not up to 100% of us love. I'm sure of at least 98.5% of Nigerian nurses hold our Boubacar Farouk in the peak of esteem. And so, please, if you are thinking of stopping nurses from moving everywhere, you should first think of making nurses comfortable, right from training days. Give stipends. Give nurses what they can spend, maybe like monthly basis, and let's see if many people will not come again to study nursing. Relieve the financial burden of trainings of nurses on nurses and their family members. Then curb the havoc that the quacks are wreaking on the profession. We should be hearing like 5-10 quacks have been arrested per day. Maybe in a state we aren't hearing anything like that, and yet there are so many atrocious activities being performed by those practicing quackery in nursing. So all those people, training, auxiliaries, there's actually a very bad practice of people just putting something in the syringe, and people going outside there saying they've learned nursing and putting one or two things in the syringe, injecting people everywhere, especially in the villages. They are wreaking so much havoc. But if you can look into this, then I think people will not even be thinking of going everywhere in the first instance. And you won't even have the reasons to be thinking you want to stop people from going everywhere. And besides, there's the Nigeria, I know there's still freedom of movement. So this shouldn't actually go anywhere, shouldn't be passed into any bill, shouldn't even be presented. Let's first look after our nurses. Let's take care of ourselves. Let's provide good job. Let's remove the unnecessary competition of Nigerian nurses with those who never actually went to school of nursing to study, or to the university to study nursing, and they're calling themselves nurses outside there. Let's stop that first before we start thinking of stopping Nigerian nurses from going wherever they want to practice across the world. If you think what our registrar is saying is great, is wonderful, and we think they should go on ahead with it, please pass your comment in here. But if we think it is not right, then we should join our mouths to tell them to allow the poor to breathe. Please put your comment here. Let's see how you feel about it. Should we be allowed to keep moving around? Should NMCN stop nurses from migrating? Thank you.